Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my mid-year book freakout tag for 2021. So I've done this the last 4 years, just for, it's a great way to look at what happened in the first 6 months. I know most everybody's done theirs already. I'm a little behind as normal, but I always wait until July because you never know if that last book will be like the best book of the first 6 months. So I always wait. Anyway, so I'm just going to go through the questions. I'll have them listed down below, as well as the original creators. And also I'll have, just for the hell of it, the, the other videos I've done of this. What the heck. Anyway, so let's just get started. So, of course, question number 1 starts off with a big one, is the best book you've read so far this year. So, I mean, this year has been kind of a weird reading year. I would not say I have as many 5 stars as I have in the past for the first 6 months. I've been reading all over the place, but I would say, without a doubt, the best book I've read so far this year is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. So I've been wanting to read this forever. Three Musketeers has been one of my favorite books since I was a teenager, and read that several times. I just never conquered this, so I got to read this with a few other booktubers for March of the Mammoths, and I'm so glad I read this. This was fantastic. And sure, there's a couple places, well, maybe it could have been a little shorter, but really most of it, no, it actually all weaves together really well. I'm very impressed with his writing, as always, and with this plotting was just fantastic. So I really enjoy this, and this is my favorite book so far this year. Question number 2 is the best sequel that you read. So I do read a lot of series. I haven't read quite as many as I was hoping to get through in the first 6 months. We'll see how the second 6 months go. But I did read the Bridgerton series, most of it in so far this year, and I finally finished that. So I would say my favorite sequel is probably Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, but the Viscount Who Loved Me is so close. Like they're neck and neck on favorites. So I just wanted to show both of them. This is book 2 and this is book 4. So I really liked the rest of them overall. There's some of them had a few issues for me, but these 2 were the top of the whole Bridgerton series. So those are my favorite historical. They happen to be historical romances for sequels. New releases that you haven't read yet, but you want to. So this year I've been trying to cut back on a lot of my pre-ordering, but I still want to order. I order a lot of fantasy that I want to get to because I want to support the writers and get them authors and make sure they get the next books in the series. So I have 4 here that I want to read really bad. I just haven't had a chance. The Black Coast by Mike Brooks, Hall of Smoke by H.M. Long, The Second Bell by Gabriella Houston, and The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. So those are all ones I bought this year so far that I haven't got to that I really want to. Question number 4 is the most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. So again, I'm just going to do multiples on certain ones. You're just going to have to get used to that. So of course the first one, let's see if I can blow it up a little bit. So I'm super looking forward to the next Tad Williams book, Brothers of the Wind. It's a book that goes in between. Well, it's kind of I think it might even be kind of a prequel to the Last King of Austenard series. So since I'm not getting The Navigator's Children this year, at least we will be getting a short novel from him later this year. I also, let's see here. Ooh, where's my... Oh, it just went in so many different places. Okay. So, So I'm looking forward to, in July, getting Last Guard, which is book 20 in the Side Changeling series by Nalini Singh. I'm also looking forward to, oh, you can't see that, even though I darkened it. Anyway, sorry, it's it's hard. It's really a bright cover for Archangel's Light, which is I don't know if that's 13. I don't know, 13, 14, I'm not sure, on the Guild Hunter series by Nalini Singh. So both of her stuff, of course, always highly anticipating. I can't wait for Perhaps the Stars by Ada Palmer, which is book 4 in the Terra Ignata series. Again, I'm rereading them right now to get ready for it. I'm so excited for the book 4, which is, so it's a science or dystopian kind of thing. And I think that was that the 4? Yeah, well, and if, you know, and I'm also looking forward to the next TJ Klune book, The Under the Whispering Door. So, there are those. Okay, so, number 5, biggest disappointment. That is without a doubt the end of the series of the Emporium, the Enchanted Emporium series by Tanya Hoff. I put it off reading this last book for a couple of years. I shouldn't have done that, but anyway, I went to finish this year because I was trying to finish some series, and I just did not like the direction this went. I think there's still some really good things to say in here, and it did wrap up well in the end, but it was just too angsty for me. And it was such a disappointment after the first 2 books I really enjoyed for different reasons. But the little things that I didn't like in the first 2 novels kind of blew up in this one, and that's why I just was not my favorite. So it was so disappointing. But I finished that series, so it's at least done. And again, it was just, I just didn't get along with it. Let's see here. So the biggest surprise, oh, hold on, is another one I don't, was The Witch's Heart by Guinevere Gornichek. This book I got from the library, so I'm waiting for paperback. I love this book. It was a kind of Norse myth retelling kind of thing with Loki and this witch and her story. And it was a book that made me laugh and cry, and just, it was just wonderful. I just love this book. It definitely was close to being one of my top, it's definitely one of my top books of the year. But it was a big surprise because I just thought I would enjoy it, but I didn't realize how much I was going to love it, and I just can't wait to own my own copy so I can reread it. Number 7, favorite new author, debut or new to you. So this was hard for me because I have read a lot of new authors to me, but the only one that I kind of did a deep dive or want to read like all their stuff now after reading the first book by them was Vita Sackville-West. And again, I read All Passion Spent, and I've gone and read her autobiography / biography that was by her and her son, and I've purchased all her books, so I definitely need to start reading the ones that I've bought. But this book was so much was so eye-opening of how she did that, and then when I learned about her, I grew to like her a lot. So it was kind of like a weird deep dive, but she's definitely somebody I would say was a favorite new that I want to definitely explore more now that I've discovered her. I'm a little behind, yes I know. Anyway, number 8, newest fictional crush. So like every year, I don't actually have a crush like on a character, but I have like a favorite couple, and I would say that was Eamon and Red in For the Wolf by Hannah Winton. I don't know, I can't say that today. I really enjoyed this fantasy, and I really liked their relationship and both the characters together. It was just, and again, if I guess the closest would be a crush would be on Eamon, but I liked the dynamic of what was going on in the story and the backstory and things that with them and stuff. And it was just, they're my favorite couple of all the stuff I've read so far this year. Number 9, newest favorite character. So, again, I'm going to bring up the Bridgertons again. I love Lady Danbury. She is my favorite character of the whole series. I was always excited when she shows up in the books. She played a pretty big part in number 7, It's in His Kiss. And so but she was in all of them, and I just love her. She is so funny because she just speaks her mind because she's to an age where, you know, she can get away with that, and she's pretty direct on everything. I just love her. She's like my favorite new character. 10, a book that made you cry. The Hidden Face of Eve by Nawaldi El Sawadi. So I read this early in the year. I bought this book a couple of years ago and then finally read it for the Invisible Cities project. So this is translated by Shiraf Hatata. So this is, she's from Egypt, and she writes, this is like a book from 1970, I think it was 1970s at least. And it was describing her childhood, and then it talks about women in that society, in the society there at that time, and historically, and you know, educationally and all, like it's a whole thing about that. And but this, I cried so much especially in the beginning, just because it was so brutal of what she went through and many other girls went through, and I hate to say it, some are still going through, and it was so brutal to me, and I guess this one just made me cry. It was very sad, but that book was just so powerful. Number 11, A Book That Made You Happy. Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson was just a joy to read, and I'm looking forward to my reread. I actually bought the audiobook to try it that way too, but the book was just fantastic about Miss Pettigrew just having this day that pretty much changes her life, but she changes everybody else around her as well. I love this book. It was so funny. I'm so glad I finally got it. It's been on my shelf for several years, and I got to read that because I guess because it was Kate Howe's World Day book, that one. Anyway, it was just fantastic. Anyway, I love that book. So question number 12 is favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year. I have not seen anything. You guys, I don't watch TV much anymore. I'm very much I just watch Booktube. I watched cable once in a while. I'll go through phases, and most of that has nothing to do with movies. I'm just not watching movies right now. So I've not watched anything new. Let's just put it that way. I'm way behind. I don't watch TV shows. I don't watch, not TV shows that were like, popular that way. Anyway, so I have nothing to answer for this one. Number 13, favorite review you've written this year, or Booktube version favorite video that you've done so far this year. And it's been kind of a low-key year for me on Booktube, but I do like that I've started my book haul revisits that borrowed the idea from several other booktubers, and it's interesting to go back to see what I bought 4 years ago when I joined Booktube and see how many of those books I've read and what I haven't. So I've done 3 of them so far, and I've really enjoyed those. I would say those are my favorite videos so far this year. Number 14, most beautiful book. Where did I just put that? Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I think For the Wolf is gorgeous. This is my favorite book cover this year. It does have the French flaps and deckled edges. Again, I'm not like that. That's like not super high points. I just think it's a beautifully constructed book. I just like the feel of it when I read it. I just enjoyed this book so much too, but I really love the cover. Just love it. Love it. Anyway, so that was my favorite of the books I've bought. I would say a close second is this one that I bought in June with my birthday money, because it is stunning. It is gorgeous. But that would be number 2. I think I like that one a little bit better, but this one I definitely bought for that. And then number 15 is books that you want to read by the end of the year, or books that you need to read by the end of the year. So none of them, of course, is what I need to read. It's what I want to read. There's no such thing as a need to read, but as a mood reader as I am, it's not going to happen. So I picked out a couple books. I would love to get to Dragon Mage. I would love to get to The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, because I'm behind. I still need to read that. I need to read Out by Natsuo Kirino, translated from the Japanese. Oops, I lost the name. By Stephen Snyder. I had this on my shelf for a while, and I'm gonna hopefully do a buddy read on this one. And then also another translated work, The Nakano Thrift Shop by Hiromi Kawakami. Again, both of these I'm hoping to read in August for Women in Translation. But this is translated by Alison Markham Powell. But these are 2 that have been ones that I've been wanting to read for every year. I put them on TBRs and never read them. So this year is going to be the year. I also want to continue my Vita Sackville West reading. So I want to read the book Challenge, which is a reimagining of something that something that happened in her life, and then she wrote a novel about it. And so it wasn't published in England, I think, during her lifetime, I think, or something like that. I think it might have been published overseas, but not here. I can't remember, or in England, but I can't remember, but I still need to read that. And then the only other one is I need to finish this book, which is the third book in the D'Artagnan romances. This is the Vicomte de Beguillon by Alexandre Dumas. I started it at around Christmas time, and I tried to finish it before I got to March, before I knew I was going to read The Count of Monte Cristo. That did not happen, and I just have not picked it up. I'm about 160 pages in, and I need to finish this. I need to finish the D'Artagnan romances. That is going to be my goal next year, but I need to finish this year so that I only have to read 2 more books next year, but we'll see. So again, this follows the adventures of the musketeers who were in, you know, the 3 musketeers and their growing group of friends and political adversaries and things. It's just, I need to read that. So I say I need, but I want to get that done. So that's it. That is my, oh, cat. My cat is attacking things, sorry. That is my mid-year book freakout tag for 2021. Again, I suggest anybody who has a channel to do this one because it's just interesting to look back and try to see what your answers are for this. So again, I'll have everything listed down below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.